What's up, everybody? Hope everyone had a good week. Let's go ahead and let's do the weekend update here. Get this out of the way on what I think we're probably going to see next week. Let's start with ES. We're going to go over ES, NQ, RTY, Apple, and Tesla. But on ES, first things first, I'm doing a little bit different here. The purple lines are major areas, right? So basically, if price gets a daily close above one of these areas or below it, got to be really extra careful, right? Because at that point, for 45.50 daily close above, you want to assume the dip is over. And a daily close below 44.77, you want to assume the bull rally is over. Okay, so pretty important spots we're at here. This week's target was this 44.93 area, went down to 44.92.75, had a pretty sharp bounce off that area. It's not surprising. It's a good area to buy. But I think we might see one more down. A little bit of panic over on Monday. That's what I'm hoping for, at least. And if so, I really want to buy this 44.77, right? If we have a little bit of an overshoot, 44.50.50 would be a really good area as well. But we are so stretched to the downside on other indicators that this is unlikely. And if this was to trade in the morning, this 44.77, that would almost certainly be a major low into Christmas. So that's what I'm looking for. Hopefully on Monday AM, you can see that it's about another 15.5 points from today's low that we would need to burn off there. And if we open below that, then I would probably be looking towards this 44.50 area. I'll do an update if we start closing below this. You got to be really careful if this 44.77 level gives. It's going to be a lot like this situation up here, where the close above 46.50 occurred, and then the bears negate the next day. If we get, let's just say hypothetically, we close below 44.77 on Monday, then we would need a bulls rally the following day to negate that close, right? So if that does happen, just be mindful on Tuesday that you might want to be buying that dip. Okay, let's do NQ. So NQ again, purple areas are extremely important. This one's got a little bit more, this is a little bit more stretched than ES. So it's got a little bit more levels on here, right? But basically, we can achieve new highs above this level here, 15,891.25, right? Above there, and new highs are, a thing, right? We'll get new highs above there. Below this 15,384, and bull move is essentially over. This whole move here, it would be signaling is complete, right? And we could start discussing lower targets. The black areas here, the black lines, 15,671 and 15,528. These are just areas of confluence I got. You can see we bounced off this 15,528. It's a support area. I really don't want to say it's a major support area. Like this purple here is the point of control of this entire down move from this previous all-time high down here, right? So if this was to trade, which is another 132 points down, then you would really only want this to trade for a very short period of time. Like you would want a recovery back over this 528 level, right? But the issue is that because this was so far extended, even further extended than ES, that you can't really say there's going to be new highs until you're back above 15,891, right? So If this 15,384 traded, then it would have to clear these two. These are two would probably become pretty difficult areas to clear, right? So long story short, let's say we do have a Santa rally. Uh, I think that NQ would probably be one of the weaker, or probably the weakest index during that rally, right? So it's not it's probably not what you want to be buying right now. So again, 15,384, very important level. If you are a buyer there, you'd want to see support come into play. And then you'd have to start worrying about this 15,528, 15,671 areas, right? Those would have to be taken out. But I really wouldn't, I wouldn't say that we're going to go see new highs until we're above this 15,891. And just for perspective, that whole range is a whopping 3.26%. That's a very big range, right? I feel much more confident in buying ES here versus NQ. And then if this level gives, then you got two more pretty important support zones here. 15,273, 15,190. You could even say I don't have it here, but the 15,164. Again, the previous all-time highs before that one. Excuse me. And if those give, then really, if this gives, I'll have to be making a new chart and start discussing some stuff way lower, right? Like realistically, this stuff might trade in some sort of overshoot or something, but like if we start trading below here, like we're looking at much more down, right? You're looking at another 8 to 10% down before you would really find support, right? So very, very overstretched, on the upside, and starting to get a little bit overstretched on the downside. So again, would be really super ideal if on Monday morning we get another 132 points down. This would be a good spot to buy. All right, RTY. All right, so this chart, everyone's, like, oh, great, small caps, they're the best, right? This and that, yada yada. This is a fairly dangerous chart to buy. You can see that we had I plotted the volume profile from the first day we broke into this range, all the way to today, and you can see that we already closed below the value area. So the small caps are already in a bear market at this point, right? Now, we had a fake breakup, and then it broke right back in, and now we're starting to challenge these areas, right? We hit this first support here. We bounced today, 21.36.8, but this is the third day we've been hanging out in this area. Okay, this is an important area, but I think we'll see this 21.04, which again, boom, boop, 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 right? Most important area. And at this point, you're looking at you can count all these as one if you want. Realistically, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 previous attempts in this area. If we come back down here for an 8th attempt, I don't think that's going to hold. Okay? Not after, it's one thing if this whole time they've been in a range. Okay? But the move has expressed itself to the upside, and it's sold off and it's back in. All right? That's the key difference here. If this was still in the range and chopping about, like, no big deal, and we tested it again, I would say, hey, yeah, this will probably hold, right? Why not? It's held 7 times previously, right? But we broke out, and that breakout failed. Full stop. Okay? Buyers, were rejected, and bears took control, and bears are pushing, and not only are they pushing, they're pushing now to the bottom of of the entire range. Okay, So we very well may get down here, and we might have a couple big days, where we bounce back up to here, we bounce up to here, something like that, right? Like we might have a few 2% days or something off this level. But if this level trades again, it's highly likely it's going to break. Okay. And if that's the case, then this move has a whole crap ton, because this was all fast, right? All this is going to be retraced. Like you this could go all the way down to 164.7. Like I know that's insane, right? Like we're talking about a huge 23% down from this level, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if we start closing below here, that's what's likely. Okay, so we don't know yet, right? We simply don't know yet. Okay, so if you want to buy this as well, and for a Santa rally or some crap, that's okay, I guess. You can do the 21046, but realistically, if 21046 trades again, you might be able to day trade that for a few days, maybe a week even, right? Like we might go up for a week or something, but that's probably going to ultimately fail, and these are going to sell off. All right, so that fake breakup where we broke back down did major structural damage, in my opinion. And if we come back down here again, while it may hold initially just because of how long the sell has been going on, right? So I mean, let's look at the date range since the highs, right? It's pretty much been straight down, right? With a very very few couple green days, it's essentially down 24 days straight, right? So we might get down here and we might get some sort of relief, like a trend, right? Like we might get down here and we might trend all the way back up to this 2236 level, right? And that's a decent chunk of change, right? So from there to here, that's 6%. So it might trend back up here, okay? But I would then think it would fail, and it's going to break, okay? So like I said, we've gone down so much so fast that if it gets to this major support level, I would expect some sort of relief, right? But I wouldn't expect this chart to lead to new highs. That's pretty much the bottom line. You could day trade it, you could get another 5-6% out of it over a week or two. Maybe if this trades on Monday, right? Maybe it's strong, or maybe it chops sideways and then it rallies into the end of December or something along those lines, right? And then soon as that next sell wave hits in January or whatever, this is going to break, and it's going to go down pretty hard. So up to you. If you want to buy it, right? Like, again, this NQ probably not your most profitable. ES, in my opinion, is probably the best. All right, let's say we buy this, and we get back above this 45.51. I'm gonna right away be looking for, probably at least this 44.67 level to trade. So you got 4.24% profit versus a potential 6% on a much riskier small caps. We're talking a little bit here, but people are going to want to buy quality here, right? Especially after a very scary downtrend and all that sort of stuff. So to me, it's a no-brainer that this, I want to be buying ES over NQ and RTY here. Let's take a look at Apple. Now, this chart is extremely simple, just because of how extended it is currently, right? This is a chart that just 3 days ago hit its all-time high. So this is a much easier chart to play. And basically, it's this 156.69 level. Okay, very very important. Previous all-time high in this area. You've got we traded quickly. Excuse me one second. So I'm drinking wine and it's gassy. So this a super important area, right? As long as we are above this area, you can remain bullish, right? So let's say this area trades Monday or Tuesday, and bounces, right? You can set your stops there at break even, and I would buy probably end of January calls, and see what happens, right? And I my personal opinion is that the top's probably in for this chart, and it's probably going to be going down here to 149.45 before it makes new highs. Just my personal opinion. I don't really know though, because we got to see how this level reacts first, right? So bullish above, bearish below. Extremely simple, right? If it starts daily close below this 156.69, it's going to be a clear shot. We're talking almost 5% down to 149.45 before we start. Before we can start talking about additional breakdown. If it starts trading below here, you're looking at this entire move, right? This entire thing as being negated. Okay, so. I got a couple volume profiles on here. I even have this full fixed range in here, so you don't really need it yet. But if this area breaks, then market's signaling that the all-time high is in, and you would start seeing a much lower target. Probably down to the 130s would become realistic. But like I said, that's way too early to say, right? So we got to see what happens here at this 156.69 level. I'm sure basically how it's been so bullish, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of buyers there into year end. People want to say that they have Apple on their books when they close everything out. So there's a pretty good, if overall market conditions are favorable and we're bouncing, there's a pretty good chance that this area will bounce as well, right? And then you'd be looking at a much deeper sell-off when the market conditions turn sour again, right? So pretty straightforward. 156.69, that's the very, very, very important level. And bullish above, bearish below. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. This is another very kind of simple chart, and that's because of the monster run that we had it on, right? Basically, we've already closed below these key levels. This chart is already breaking down, right? So it's very extended on the shorter time frames. I bought some calls earlier, ended up letting them go for a very, very small loss. But it's due for some sort of bounce, maybe a bounce up to this 1060 area. If we're being really optimistic, maybe up to this 1078 area. But it also may just go sideways here before resuming sell, right? I don't really know. We're going to find out. But this is a support area, but the major area is this 1079 area. If it manages to trade back above there, hey, new highs are possible. Otherwise, what's likely going to happen is we're going to get a little bit of chop, probably sideways consolidation, couple 2-3% up days, and then ultimately it's going to keep on going down towards this 896 level and fill this gap right here, as well as the top of the value area for the entire run. Right, so again, pretty simple chart. Don't need to overcomplicate this one. Like I said, you can play for a couple percent bounces here and there, but there's just much better things to play, in my personal opinion, right? So I obviously I say that, and I was playing this today, but that's just because it's on the short term basis it's extremely oversold. So I would not be surprised if it does get some sort of bounce here before ultimately resuming to the downside. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. Those are the 5 major chart updates. Hopefully, like I said, the big 2 are NQ and ES. Hopefully we get a little bit more down on Monday. But I would that's all I want. I just want a little bit more down. I'm trying to play to the, to the absolute bottom here. I did not buy that 44.93, which, I may ultimately regret. Hopefully not. That was the weekly target, and um, it traded, which was good, but I did not buy it. So hopefully the greed doesn't catch up to me, but I'm hoping for one more small gap down on Monday morning where we open up maybe 44.80 or 85 or something. We do a quick 5-minute candle down to 44.77, and then we just take off, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And that would also exist with a bit of a more excessive down, a 0.85% down in NQ, a little bit over double what I'd be looking for in ES. But again, that's kind of par for the course because this has been on a monster run and extended more than ES in the first place. So a little bit further extension down, no big deal. Anyways, guys, hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions, or actually just probably on the Patreon's better. And I'll see you guys Monday.